Hi guys, this is Mark, and I'm going to start a new series. I am what they call a maker, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen. Maybe it's been in the news a lot lately about making and maker spaces, or you might have seen. Make magazine here, and newsstands, or there's a little robot that's kind of a symbol of makers, and makers do a lot of different things. I'm not going to get into it right now, but one thing we do is hack things. In other words, take things apart and maybe build new things out of them. And so today I thought it would be kind of cool to take something and take it apart. I found this at a thrift store today for $4, and most of you recognize this. It's a scanner, and a lot of these have really gone out of style. I mean, this is very archaic. I don't even know if it's got a USB port. Yes, it's got a printer port. So this is pretty old. But I happen to know there's a couple of little gold nuggets in these things that may have worth taking apart. So I'm just gonna go ahead and open this, and hopefully it'll be all here. Whoever owned it kept it in good enough shape to keep the box, because this is gotta be at least 10 years old. Oops. It's pretty big, actually. I wonder if it's might even be used, unused, I mean. And here's the transformer. I think that probably this person was really neat. I see a little note inside here. What I'll do is move the box out of the way for a minute. Focus on the scanner. Plastic and foam. I don't know if this is connecting or anything. I don't think so. Yeah, I can see from the notes on the printer that it's been used, but very neat. Possibly over neat. That's politically correct. Person. As you can see, there are neat notes on it. Scan and save this JPEG. Push custom to edit. So this has been used. There's even a, that might have already been there. So that's the scanner. There seems to be more stuff with it. A manual. A DVD, Windows 95 NT. That'll give you some idea that this is quite old when you're looking at Windows 95. It doesn't matter though. I know that the internals probably have some of the things I'm looking for either way. Here is the cable, and this is an old printer cable. I don't know if you guys recognize this, but it was used in early computing for cable to hook up to printers on things like other peripherals like scanners. They used this before, well, definitely before USB. A little folder of some sort. This is probably the owner's. Yeah. See how neat. This documentation was probably downloaded. It's got all the instructions on how to use the scanner. Filing items in folders and creating new folders. Creating a folder. Lots of stuff. Getting more great features with Paperboard Deluxe. It must be an upgraded software. It's got a kind of notice instructions, things you really need to pay attention to, if anything else. This looks like it might be the power supply. Probably something like 12 volts. It's got a nice tangly wrapper. Here we have another emergency note. Warning, unlock your scanner first. And this looks like the installation manual. Paperboard installation guide. What's in the box? What you need. It shows all the features. I'm kind of chuckling at the extra. The owner was probably a very neat person, and I just chuckle at the, if you look here, you can see some underlining. Very neat little pink page marker. Installing the paperboard software. Checking it out. Troubleshooting. Talking about the buttons. They're on the outside here. The different ways to scan. Scanning by pressing the button. Scanning from the screen. Changing the button settings. Getting help with the one-touch buttons. Adjusting a button scan setting and page settings. Here we have another separate sheet, technical support sheet. Looks like it's been used. Scanning an item, scanning the paperport, scanning from the paperport software. Scanning an item, adjusting scan settings, selecting a predefined scan setting, customizing a scan setting, scanning in color, adjusting the brightness and contrast, selecting the area of the item you want to scan, and then there's a section on actually cleaning the scanner glass, the scanner specifications, and then ways to learn more. So that's the manual. So, as I said before, the point here is to actually take this apart and get some parts out of it. So the first part was a little more ASMRy. I'm going to try to make tearing apart ASMRy, but I don't know how well it's going to work because it's a little more, you know, so it looks like what I need to take this apart is a Phillips head screwdriver, and so I'll probably have to pause the camera. Okay, well, I get a screwdriver and we'll start to take this apart and see what happens. They have these all over the place, and thrift stores are usually full of them. A lot of people throw them out. Kind of a little bit fun to take apart because there's some electrical and mechanical stuff. So there's a ribbon cable that you sort of pull, And I saw that, and there's, as you can see, we've run into our first, probably the major circuit board that operates this unit. And I know from experience you just tug on them to get them off. And so, for those of you who don't know, these are integrated circuits. It's primarily integrated circuits on this board, some capacitors. And now there should be more screws. So that one, this one. I don't know what that is. Let's see if the gloves are off and so on. All I did there was take this just popped off. It didn't have screws on it. This is kind of a soft pad that keeps the paper nice and flat against the glass for scanning. There are more Phillips head screwdrivers here. Screws here. And so we'll just keep going here and see if eventually the thing will come apart. Okay, that came off. That's good. Now I see that there's another one of those wire clips, so I just kind of know to yank on it. And I release it, and this is just basically a piece of glass and probably some circuitry for the buttons. So it's got a piece of glass, kind of a nice piece of glass. And this is some part of the scanner. And let's see here. One of the things I'm looking for is right here. What this is a tube. It's a light, what they call a cold cathode tube. It's similar to a fluorescent bulb, but it's really thin and long, and it works slightly different than a fluorescent bulb, but it looks a lot like one when it's lit, a little bit brighter. And they use this when they're, I don't know if you ever watch these scans on copier machines. The light that goes across, that's what this is. And so I'm gonna remove this. They're very fragile. They're made of glass. And they're powered by a relatively high voltage power supply. So I've got that part out. Now there's wires going down there to this hole. So it looks like I'm gonna have to unscrew this stuff. So And I just disconnected the power supply. Like I said, the high voltage supply for this. And now I can remove the unit. Now, the last step. You have to carefully this is in its own enclosure. I might be smart just to keep this in the closure until I figure out what to do, but I just wanted to show you the bulb. Like I said, they're highly fragile, but very interesting to use for a couple of things. You know what, I'm not going to keep this out of here now. The bulb, as you can see, is right here. And the wires, it's got two wires, one that comes out of each end and goes into here, which I think is like, 200 volts or something along that line. And if you know where the line voltage doesn't go that high, it's 120 volts. But here's a module I'm going to pull out now. Let's see if I get this camera on here. There's another plug. There's always a little board here. This little board actually plugs into this light bulb. Okay. And the other end of this board hooks up to 6 to 12 volts, like a battery or a wall transformer, and it will light this bulb. This converts 6 to 12 volts into 200 volts in order to run the bulb. It's a little bit like neon. And so because of that, it makes it easy to use this in maker projects, because it's kind of already set. You don't have to do a whole lot of mods. I might want to cut these wires and hook it up to the power supply that I want to use, and that's it. You're done. And that's the main thing I wanted to get out of this. But while we're here, I wanted to show you a couple other things that are in these scanners. Kind of a nice metal rod that the scanner actually slides on. Gives it this is heavy. It gives it a smooth movement. This is what's called a stepping motor, and it's basically a computerized motor, and there might be some use for that. This too has, here's another circuit board. This too has a little clip that can come out. I don't have my headphones on right now, so I'd imagine I'm making really a lot of non-ASMR sound. So here is the stepper motor. These are handy to use for makers, robotics and other things. They hook up to like a computer, like what they call an Arduino or a Raspberry Pi, you might have heard of. What else is kind of interesting on here? Oh, the way these scanners work, they have, let's see, how do I get this off? They have a series of mirrors. Here's one here. Nice two-way mirrors that reflect that light from that bulb that I showed you. There's usually a number of them in here. These are fastened down with just a metal clip, and I'm just sort of bending them back to easily get them off. Here's another one. So if you have a project that needs double reflective mirrors, that would be good. Just one more smaller one in there. What else is in here? Gears there. There's a smaller mirror, and then yeah, I guess that's all the mirrors. And then the last thing, it's a little bit unique. I'll unscrew this. There is a lens, kind of a nice optical lens, and what it does is it magnifies the image that's when it goes along and scans. It magnifies that image, and there's one more circuit board here. It magnifies it and projects it on this unit here, which is a sensor, an optical sensor. And that's how it copies your image or scans it. This is called a charge coupled device, and it's enclosed in glass. It's vacuum. it's got a vacuum in it. And so in a way, these are fairly sophisticated devices. But what I've gotten out of here is the bulb that I want to use for a project, and its power supply. Some little mirrors, a little lens, kind of a nice metal rod you could use for something, a case or some glass you could use for something. So now part 2 of this is going to be making something with this. And so it's probably better at this point to have a second video and show you what I had in mind to make with this. So until next time, miigwech.